Otomagnetics has developed an experimental platform technology that magnetically delivers therapy to ear, eye, and skin disease targets. Our minimally invasive magnetic injection platform delivers therapeutic nanoparticles to better treat conditions such as hearing loss, tinnitus, ear infections, macular degeneration, and diabetic ulcers.
Welcome to RedCrow Healthcare Innovators Unplugged. I'm Dr. Ornaloni Charis from RedCrow, the Managing Director, and I'm pleased today to be joined by Abhita Batra, the CEO of Otomagnetics.
Thank you, Oren, for inviting me here.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful platform, and we're glad to be here.
Thank you. Today, you're here first to talk about a couple of things that impact children, and then we'll discuss how Otomagnetics may be able to help in those areas. So let's start by talking about childhood hearing loss.
So I think childhood hearing loss is one of the major areas that we'd like to talk about because that's one of the indications that we are targeting. Many people are aware that when a kid is going through chemotherapy regimen, they would have hair loss, nausea, and vomiting. But not many people are aware that hearing loss is a side effect, and that's where, that's why we are here talking about it.
So how many children get hearing loss when they go through chemotherapy?
So about 90%.
Wow.
90% of the kids going through chemotherapy regimen will have hearing loss. So cisplatin and autoplatin toxicity basically causes the hearing loss in kids. And that's not a great situation because when a parent is given an option to choose between hearing loss and saving the life of a kid, what are they going to choose?
Yeah, there's no question what you have to do, but maybe there is a solution on the horizon thanks to Otomagnetics.
Right, so I think that's why we are here.
Okay, good. Well, we'll talk more about how you're going to do that, but talk to me about chronic otitis media as well, because that's a pretty common problem.
Right. So middle ear infection is actually one of the problems that occurs for kids under the age of 5. Many kids who have multiple ear infections will be a target to transtympanic procedures. And in the transtympanic procedure, what is done is basically a hole is drilled inside the eardrum and a tube is put in. And that's how the antibiotics are delivered locally for the treatment of ear infections. In middle ear infection, what happens is not only they have infection, which cannot be treated by multiple doses of antibiotic, but the fluid builds up because of the inflammation. And the only treatment is transtympanic procedure. But if a kid is diagnosed with multiple ear infections, and if they are given a localized treatment beforehand, then they wouldn't have to go through the whole surgery that they right now have to go through. And that's where we come in and we provide the localized drug delivery treatment. We deliver a steroid and antibiotic and treat the infection and the inflammation.
That's really cool, Abhita. I would like to hear how you do this and what's so unique about the platform, because I've learned a lot about it over the years and I think it's really interesting. Tell me how it works and like what drew you to this.
Right. So Otomagnetics is a unique drug delivery technology. It's a platform technology where we have magnetic nanoparticle formulation on which we can load any sort of payload, which could be drug, protein, gene, and we deliver it to the target indication using magnetic fields, which are generated by the magnetic device. So we have a drug-device combination, but we are classified as a drug primarily.
Interesting. So the way I understand it is that you have a high-powered magnet that can force these nanoparticles that have the drugs loaded onto them through membranes.
Right.
So what you're really doing is you're avoiding needles, you're avoiding surgery, you're just literally going through the membranes.
Yes, it is a non-invasive drug delivery treatment. It's a localized method of delivery. Right now, what happens is if a drug is prescribed, it's given systemically. Either it's given orally or through intravenous system. That's the way we are conditioned. But what we are trying to do is change the scenario and deliver the drug non-invasively using a magnet within 10 minutes.
So it's precision.
It's precision,
Precision administration of medication, ideally less medication.
Absolutely, because what we are trying to do is within 10 minutes we want the drug to not only go to the target indication, we want the right amount of dosage to go inside the middle ear, for example, and no wastage happens. That means it doesn't go to any other body part where it is not supposed to, so less side effects.
Well, that's really interesting, Abhita. So the idea then, you know, people hear, oh, we have to give steroids to children. That seems crazy. But you're giving a small amount of steroid and you're giving it exactly where it needs to go.
Right.
Therefore, it's not going to have the massive impact that, you know, a full-blown steroid regimen would have. But it's also going to be effective because it's going to the area that it needs to work. So again, we have two different indications we're talking about. We're talking about childhood hearing loss. We're talking about middle ear infections. With the middle ear infection, the idea is steroids and antibiotics are passed through the tympanic membrane into the middle ear using your device, and it's painless.
Completely painless.
And it's precision and localized. It's precisely delivered to the middle ear.
That's right.
So that's pretty interesting. And so even with a young baby, it's just a matter of having the baby on the device for just a moment and no real...
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a unique device for the treatment of middle ear infection. The 300-pound magnet that we have is embedded in the cart, and we have a bed that gets pulled out from that cart wherever the treatment happens.
Okay.
So it could be situated in a clinic, it could be situated in big hospitals. The device is unique, but it's been designed with our collaborator that we've figured out that both ear infections are treated on the same pillow. And the fields are aligned with the middle ear, and there is no interference of treatment between the 2 ears when it happens.
Good. That's interesting. So the clinical integration should be fairly straightforward. If you have the device, it will be easy for a doctor to deploy that.
Exactly.
Okay. And then with respect to childhood hearing loss, that's more of a prophylactic therapy, right? Before you have your chemotherapy, you would administer the steroid so that it could go actually into the cochlea.
Yeah, we could do a timed release, right?
Oh, okay.
If chemotherapy regimen is going to start in like 5 days or 7 days, or depends on how long the therapy regimen is going to go on, with the help of doctor, we can design it and we can do a fast release or slow release, but we could do a timed release where a kid is given our treatment and the drug gets released over time while they are being treated for cancer.
Okay.
And because it's a localized treatment, it is not going to impact any other body organ and will just populate the hair cells and help them regrow, which is how we actually recover the hearing.
Okay. Well, that's actually a really important innovation. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that's the thing, right, about the job. I mean, you're able to help someone.
You're able to help somebody, and children are vulnerable. It must feel really good for you and your team to know that the reason you're doing what you're doing is to help you know, these children with these problems, which can change their lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. That's why I love to do what I do, and I'll continue doing what I'm doing.
So where are you now in your development of your technology and, you know, pre-commercialization and so forth, the FDA?
So we are in early, I should say we are in preclinical stage right now, and we will be filing our IND next year, and we have finalized the formulation, we've finalized the clinical design plan for the device. We should have the device prototype ready in next 60 days. And I mean, we are looking forward to basically getting this project completed, and more importantly, commercializing the product and seeing this being the future.
What's been the validation you've received as you've gone around? You've spoken, I know, many places.
Yeah.
What sort of feedback are you getting from industry or from even healthcare groups?
Well, Oren, the best thing is that the ENTs are coming to us and saying that we do not appreciate the current treatment that is out there.
Right.
Transtympanic treatment is there, but it's a major surgery because you're given anesthesia, and kids have to go through the treatment. Even though they are under anesthesia, it's a painful treatment. Yeah. So that's one. The second thing is, I don't think the ENTs get a lot of money when they do the treatment, so it's not helpful. It's not helping them make money as well. So with our technology, we've tried to keep this as a patient-centric approach, where kids would be given this non-invasive treatment. Within 10 minutes, they are out of the clinic, and they are, they can go out and play in the playground, and that's how it should be.
Because these children don't need to be sedated, they don't need anything, because
exactly.
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
They just
it doesn't
have to sit
hurt.
still.
And then we've designed a reimbursement strategy with our advisor, who was the chief commercialization officer of Autonomy, and we've made sure that we'll be able to get more bucks in physicians' pocket as well.
Which is great.
I
mean, but
Yeah.
we want to fix the world and
Exactly.
maybe put some dollars in people's pocket.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So you've had a lot of validation. There seem to be a hunger from? I know there are a lot of groups
Yes.
specifically around childhood hearing loss.
Yes, absolutely. One of our biggest champions is Action on Hearing Loss. It's a big charity in UK. They invested and they gave us a lot of money, around $1 million,
Okay.
because they look at multiple technologies which are breakthrough and which can help kids recover from hearing loss, and that's exactly what we are doing. And this company was started because we were approached by ENTs that they wanted to find a new solution and do a non-invasive drug delivery. Not only that, we've been heavily supported by state of Maryland, and
Right.
I think the groups around us, which are physician-led.
Okay. Now you're a device and a drug play.
We
You're more
are
of a platform.
Yeah, right. We are a drug-device combination, but we'll go in as a drug.
Okay, you go in as a drug.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that pose any challenges with respect to the device component, or?
Well, the device that we are manufacturing is going to be ISO certified.
Okay.
So as far as we know, and our regulatory advisors have mentioned, that should be enough.
Okay, good. Good. Tell me about your team and why this is the best team to execute this mission.
Absolutely. So I think I read this somewhere that if you are, you have a group of people, if they are sitting in a bus, the bus needs to go in one direction, right? So they all need to have one thinking, and that's why you can reach, that's how you reach the destination.
Right.
So I think the group of people that we have are unique in their own ways. Ben is the inventor of the technology. He's been doing a lot of work in magnetic nanoformulation. He's very well known in the area.
Dr. Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, we call him Ben, but of course he's amazing.
Yeah.
And then of course we have other people on the team who have worked in nanoparticle space. Our VP R&D actually worked on gold nanoparticles and took the company through phase 1 and phase 2 before joining our company. And so he has a great experience in the nanoparticle space.
Good. Okay.
I have been a serial entrepreneur for a very, very long time. I've been born and brought up in a business family. I'm co-owner of a pharmaceutical company with 150 products, 150 generic products on the market. So we know the space very well.
Okay.
And we have an advisor on the team who actually has gone through FDA approval with magnetic nanoparticles many times.
Good.
Under his guidance, we've gone one step further where we are loading the payload onto these magnetic nanoparticles. So I think all in all, we have science, we have great advisors on the team who've done commercialization of multiple other companies and who've made their own money, and now they're investing time and effort in our company.
Great. Abhita, before we close this segment, I did want to touch on some of the other applications of your technology, because you have some really interesting ones. So perhaps you could talk a little bit about
Absolutely. This is a platform technology since so the applications are vast. We are focusing on 2 programs in-house, which is inner ear and middle ear, but this application can be used for the treatment of macular degeneration, which is a $2 billion market.
Yes.
We all are going to get old, and the current treatment is poking needles into your eyes, and you're delivering antibiotics through that. There is no alternative right now. I'd like to change that.
Yes, I'd like to change that.
And the other area that we want to explore is skin. Skin is the largest organ of the body, and it's a $15 billion market. So psoriasis, diabetic ulcers, these are all indications that can be further explored with our technology. Now, of course, we are providing a non-invasive drug delivery treatment that can be applied to many other indications, but these are the three that we'd like to focus on right now.
Right, very interesting, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
We're going
you.
to take a break, and we'll look at some video on how the technology works, and we'll be back to talk to Abhita about her journey as an entrepreneur.
Current treatment of macular degeneration requires repeated needle injections of drugs into the eye. Magnetic delivery will enable treatment without needles or eye puncture.
Abhita, it's great to have you here at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. Thanks for joining us today. So this is a segment that we like to offer for all of our viewers to get to know you a little better and what makes you tick and why you do what you do. So we have 3 questions we like to ask entrepreneurs. So the first one is, we have this theme around RedCrow. We say burn the ships. And that's really, it represents when an entrepreneur decided they're going to be all in. And they're going to go for their passion, their mission, start their company, start a project. So for you, what was your burn the ships moment when you knew this is what I want to go for?
Well, I would say I'm born in a business family. So being an entrepreneur was the only thing I've known all my life.
Yeah.
That's one. But of course, Otomagnetics has its own story, and there's a mission to it. When I got involved, I understood that, if this thing goes through, this is going to help a lot of people. And that really motivated me to figure out and validate the technology. When I was able to raise $1 million for the company, that's when I thought, I'm going to go forward, make sure that this technology goes through the FDA approval and gets to patients, especially the kids, and change their lives.
Yeah, and that's great. That was your motivation to make a difference. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here. So you come from an entrepreneurial family, and I can see you've got that in you. I've been asked recently, I did a podcast and was asked, did I feel an entrepreneur was born and it was like their DNA, or do you think anybody could become an entrepreneur if they have that drive? Have you been asked that, or what do you think of that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, right? I think I was born like this. That's how I was. I've always been driven. I've always been, I would say, involved in my, business, or I would say in our family business, even if it was passive engagement or active engagement.
Yeah.
I always thought the way I do. Very business-like, very practical when it comes to things, very goal-oriented. But then I've seen people who have learned it through the process as well.
Right.
So it just depends on your situation, circumstances, and I would say the community that you're in, or the group that you hang out with.
Yeah.
So.
I agree with you. I tend to think many entrepreneurs are born with it, especially if you come from an entrepreneurial family, but I also think it can be infectious.
Yeah.
That if you're around other entrepreneurs, and like for you, in your case, your family, that you see that, and if you have the drive in you, I think seeing like, I can do that, or why them and why not me, right?
Well, it's more a collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
So it's a teamwork that
100%.
goes into it. And the motivation, as I said earlier, is to help people.
Right.
So
and that's what's driving you.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
I think it's more philanthropic and business that drives this entrepreneurial, feeling that you have.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so we'll keep moving on here. One of the things we like to also ask is, you're in this world, like you said, you got to go out and raise $1 million.
Yeah.
Now you've got the $1 million and you're in it, you're making it happen. And you go from designing, in your case, a very beautiful logo to now I've got a company.
Yeah.
Can you share advice for other entrepreneurs?
Yeah,
if someone
absolutely.
said, Abhita, tell me, I want to start a business, what advice can you give me?
Well, Otomagnetics has raised $10 million in grants and contracts.
Fantastic.
And $2.33 million in private money. But I would say, if you have to do something like this, firstly, you need to have that skill set. You need to know how to make things happen. That's one. But the other thing that you need to know is there are going to be sacrifices.
Right.
There needs to be a work-life balance that needs to be maintained. As a young entrepreneur, I had to tread a road which I don't think many would. So and that's the thrill of it, right? Where there was a challenge, there was an opportunity, and that helped me build a network and a community that supports me now.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. I mean, you need to love what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's too hard to not love it, right? And they call it the roller coaster of being an entrepreneur. It's real, and you've got to really want it to deal with that, right? Otherwise, I guess, go work for the man. But you got to, start your own business.
Yeah.
And have had a lot of success. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So our last piece, and this will tell us a little bit about you. We have a founding member of RedCrow is Jerry Harrison, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of music initiatives within the healthcare industry. We have an initiative called Music in Medicine. So when we do this at the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center, we like to ask the founders of companies we interview, if your company had a theme song, what would it be and why?
Well, that's an interesting question. But I would answer it because my son Kian loves a song which really inspires me, and that's "We Will Rock You." So that's what it is.
I love it. A little Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Abhita, we want to thank you for joining us today, for giving us your time. I want to thank the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center for giving us this wonderful studio and space. And we'll look forward to keeping an eye on all your successes going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
It was our
having us
pleasure.
here.
Great.
Thank you.